Three headlines before we get into the show. Number one, John McGinn cannot leave Aston Villa at all, under any circumstances. Some things in football just feel right, and some things are the complete opposite. One of those would be John McGinn potentially leaving Aston Villa. There needs to be a new rule introduced into the Premier League, which is John McGinn is not allowed to be sold by Aston Villa. He must remain at Villa Park. Number two, he's back. He's back in the Premier League. King Arthur has returned. Arthur Masuaku has joined Sunderland on a 2-year contract. And Sunderland fans, this is where having a West Ham fan as your host could be beneficial. I'm going to tell you about him in just a minute. Before we do that, number three, if you're new to Tartan Geo, please do subscribe and also do drop a like on the video as well by clicking the thumbs up button. Reminder, if you are into a little bit of FPL, you fancy playing Fantasy League this season on the official Premier League app, I've got a private league for Tartan Geo. The link's in the description below. The code is in the description below. I'll put in the pinned comments as well, so it's easy to find. And there will be a prize for the overall winner at the end of the season. Doesn't matter who you support. Maybe the winner will be an Aston Villa fan and he can get a signed John McGinn shirt. Maybe the winner will be a Sunderland fan and I'll get him a signed Arthur Masuaku shirt. Who knows? But you're more than welcome to join in. The more the merrier. See if you can beat me. I'm bang average at it, but see if you can beat me. I'm in the top 10% league though. I've just missed out on the 1% one. That assistant manager chip got me last season. I'm in the 10% league. That was a nice boost to load it up. I'm alright. I'm in the top 10%. Anyway, let's do the transfer news. Arthur Masuaku going to Sunderland. Right, Sunderland fans, sit back. I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly here. I'm going to start with the bad. He's not very good defensively. He's a bit suspect. I was never his biggest fan as a defender. To sum up Arthur Masuaku, I've always said he's excellent in the middle third. Right? Your own third, the defending aspect of his game, not great. The final third, when it comes to the end product, not great. The middle third, when it comes to travelling with the ball, taking players on, he is excellent. Now, I'm assuming he's still the same player as he was when he left West Ham. But he's got skill, he's able to travel with the ball, and actually, I think from that aspect of how I expect Sunderland to play, which is to play counter-attacking football, home and away, to sit back, soak up the pressure, be a bit pragmatic, and look to hit them on the break and use pace going forward. Masuaku certainly had that when he was at West Ham, direct, skillful, so that element of his game was strong. But it's the other parts. Defensively, he concerned me. Going forward, he was capable. He once mishit a cross that flew into the back of the net against Chelsea, and that was one of the highlights of the season. Don't know if that says more about Masuaku or West Ham, but I certainly enjoyed it. However, he's fun. He's got a bit of character to him as well. Now, we've had some highlights of him at West Ham. He obviously spat on a player, which wasn't good. Jumped and punched the ball in the box as well. I remember that one. But he had a bit of, I don't want to say cult hero status, I wouldn't go that far, but there was a fun element to him during his time at West Ham. He'll get a good reception on the opening day of the season when we play you, but I'd be lying if I said I wouldn't look forward to Jared Bowen playing up against him. Now, what's maybe confused me a little bit with Sunderland is when they signed the former Atletico Madrid player, Reinildo, is that how you pronounce his name? I assume that was Sunderland's left-back for the season. But I've noticed he's been playing centre-back next to Ballard. Now, I know he can play centre-back, and he's played there previously, maybe a third of his games in his career and 2/3 at left-back. But I just assumed that was Sunderland's left-back. So pre-season's thrown a bit of a curveball. So initially, had I not seen the pre-season games, if I was unaware of him playing centre-back, I'd say Masuaku is adding squad depth. And I think he's a good signing for that, by the way, because he's bringing a lot of experience with him. Sunderland have got a really young squad. So bringing in players with that Premier League experience, low risk, low financial commitment there from Sunderland as well. On that face of it, it's not a bad deal if it was to bring in depth. But I'm a bit worried that that's going to be Sunderland's first choice left-back. And that would concern me. I don't think he's good enough for that. But like I said, I am basing my opinion on Masuaku today off of the Masuaku that left West Ham. Because whilst he's been at Besiktas, I haven't seen him play. I've probably seen him play a few times, but only because they were playing certain opponents in European football. I was never his biggest fan, but Anyway, Sunderland fans are probably a little bit worried, thinking, hang on a minute, you're wrong, he's going to be better than that. I hope he is. I do hope he is. Because like I said, he was fun, but don't know. I wouldn't want him back at West Ham, put it like that one. Right then, moving on to Bournemouth. There's a lot of sort of transfer dominoes away to start happening here. Now, the one that's not involved in that is Zabarny. He's on the brink of joining PSG for 67 million euros. One of the most underrated players in Premier League, in my opinion. Went under the radar a little bit because of his partner House and getting all the plaudits, and Kirkez as well, arguably. I think he was just as good as House, and I honestly do think that. He's the centre-back I think Newcastle should have spent big money on at the start of the window and went straight in for him, because I think he's top class. No surprise he's going to PSG. I think he's good enough. Now, I have seen Bournemouth linked with a centre-back who is called, I can't read my own writing, Diatike, the Lille centre-back. Now, from my understanding, he's more of a left centre-back and therefore maybe covering Howson, because I know Bournemouth have been linked to him for quite some time now, actually. So this is a name that's no surprise to Bournemouth fans. I just worry that Bournemouth have just been ripped apart a little bit too much at the heart of their defence. I mean, that's 3 of their 4 defenders gone now, as well as the goalkeeper. Now, they've replaced Kepa with a really good goalkeeper, possibly an upgrade. To be fair, I know there's a lot of hype about him, a lot of reputation. He might be all right. I don't think he'll fill Kirkez's shoes like for like because he's so good, but it doesn't mean he won't be at Premier League standard. But still a big ask. There's still a lot for Bournemouth to do in the window. I'm still waiting on the Ryan Christie replacement. Now, he's back in training now, so he's not too far away from full fitness, but I thought Bournemouth were terrible without him last season, so I've been waiting for them to get someone in so that if he does get injured again, they'll be all right. They've not done that. I've been quite surprised. Now, here's the transfer triangle. So, Bournemouth's winger/striker, Utara, is being linked to Brentford now. He's okay. I think he's all right. I'm going to call him average. Now, for those that are new to the channel or don't know me, to me, average Premier League player is not an insult. I appreciate some people use it as slander, but to me, average means that you're at Premier League level, you're not the best and you're not the worst. You're average. And I think that's what Utara is. I don't think he's the best winger in the Premier League. I don't think he's the worst winger in the Premier League. But I certainly think he's at this level. I actually think he's at the right level of club with Bournemouth and potentially with Brentford as well. However, he's only 23. He's still young. He's still got a long way to go. Being linked to Brentford. And I think that would be a good move because with Thiago playing pre-season, scoring in pre-season for Brentford, maybe it is best that they get someone in that can play one of those number 10 roles as well as one of those striker roles. So if Thiago's out, there you go, you can use Utara. If he's not, you can use him behind Thiago. So this is a signing I think would make sense for Brentford, whereas when they were going for Hutchinson, can play one of the 10 roles, but not necessarily the striker role, which Utara did briefly for Bournemouth, but did well. They were scoring goals when he was striker. He was scoring goals as a striker. Now, if that move happens, Wissa to Newcastle is on. So, Wissa and Brentford, it feels like it's just got a little bit ugly there. And I think it's not a bigger story because of what's happening with Isak in Newcastle. That's taking up all the headlines. But actually, there is a story going on with Wissa and Brentford, which is he wants to move, training on his own, so on and so forth. It's not a great situation. Now, Bournemouth were Brentford were doubling down a little bit, saying, well, no, it's 50 million and it's 50 million because you're desperate. Because every transfer target that disappears, Ekitike now, Benjamin Sesko, you'd imagine Newcastle are going to get a bit more desperate and a bit more desperate to get Wissa. And Brentford will know that. They're not stupid. They're going to dig in and say, well, you're going to pay a lot of money for him. And I previously thought they may be getting for 30 million. I'm starting to doubt that now, thinking it might be nearer to 40, just because Brentford will cash in on Newcastle's situation, which is they're struggling to attract other strikers. So Brentford are waiting to sign a replacement before they authorise Wissa leaving, which could be Utara. Newcastle then could sign Wissa, and Bournemouth could replace Utara with Adley or Bayer Leverkusen. Nice little player, but needs to up his numbers. A nice technical player. I quite like him, but his output's not good enough yet. The goals and assists, they're not really coming. Could they come? Yes, he's certainly got a lot of attributes that I like about him. But I think for the money they're going to demand, you're not going to get him cheap. He's going to be over 20 million. I feel like I'd almost want an attacking player with more output. Almost you feel guaranteed to get goals and assists. Whereas you'll go to Bournemouth and I feel like there's a lot of work to be done to get that output out of him, if that makes sense. So a little triangle there. Well, kind of. You know who Bournemouth want in order to let Ouattara go to Brentford. You know who Brentford want in order to let Wissa go to Newcastle. So you've got Newcastle and Leverkusen either side of the food chain. Right then, John McGinn. Everton had a bid rejected for John McGinn of 18 million. Now, I've seen him linked to Newcastle. I've seen McGinn linked to Newcastle as well. But that's all it was. Newcastle want John McGinn. That was it. But prior to seeing this news about Everton, prior to that, if you'd said to me, how much will John McGinn cost? I'm saying 30 million. I'm saying, I know he's no spring chicken, right? But he's a captain. He's a very good captain. Doesn't score as much as I thought he did. I remember speaking to a Villa fan, he said, John McGinn's not scored this season. And we were like 20-something games in. He said, McGinn's not scored this season. I'm like, wait, what? I just assumed he'd scored like 4 or 5, right? He's got that confusion because of Scotland. He does score every other game for us. But he's still a very, 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 very good, above average Premier League player. Now, I say player because I want to say central midfielder, but he doesn't often get used there by Unai Emery, does he? He's usually, playing sort of left number 10 or right number 10 or something. He's usually in the attacking 3 behind the striker. Can play deeper in midfield. But I would expect him to be, like I said, 30 million, 20-something comfortably. So when I seen that Everton's bid of 18 million got rejected, I was not surprised. I don't think Everton will be surprised that it got rejected. But here's the funny thing. Moyes had the opportunity to buy him from Hibs when Villa bought him for 3 million. And for whatever reason, I genuinely don't know why we didn't end up signing him. I don't know. I think Moyes was a fan of him, but we just didn't fancy it. Now, I think that's worked out because McGinn went to Villa, who was in the Championship at the time, and got promoted with them. Maybe that spell in the Championship was required for his development. But he cannot leave Aston Villa. I think of Aston Villa. John McGinn's the first player I think of. Right, I think of John McGinn. I think of Aston Villa. They're just associated with one another. It just feels right. John McGinn, Aston Villa feels right. I'm still not ready for Fulham without Tom Kearney or seeing Tom Kearney in another strip. No, Tom Kearney's Fulham. That's it. You're not allowed to play for anyone else. It's a bit like Pickford. Sorry, Sunderland fans, you're still watching. Pickford and Everton. It's just right. He's not allowed to leave Everton. You can't have Pickford in another team's kit. It just wouldn't be right. I'm hoping this makes sense. I'm hoping you've got some examples in your head, right, of players and teams. It just works. It just fits. Stay there and leave them alone. John McGinn, Aston Villa. It's one of them. You're not allowed to touch it. You're not. As I said, Dan Burn in Newcastle, it's a bit different because he's like Jordi. But even Bruno Guimaraes in Newcastle, it just works. You're not allowed to touch him. He's not allowed to leave Newcastle. Bruno's got to stay there. It's just right. A bit like Grealish and City. It's the opposite, isn't it? Grealish and City never looked right. Never felt right, did it? There was no... It just felt wrong. Welcome to Tartan Geo. This is the Premier League Transfer Show where we don't mind going off at a tangent and chatting nonsense. Anyway, that's it for today. Hopefully you've already dropped a like on the video. If not, please rectify that now. Thank you very much for the support. I'll be back tomorrow. And remember, if you're into a bit of FPL, go underneath this video into the description. There's a code, copy and paste it, or just click the link and it will automatically add you in. Pinned comments are there as well. It's got the information. So thank you very much to anyone that does participate. Best of luck. And if you're a Sunderland fan, get ready for singing Oh, hey, oh.